So let's start in the upper left-hand corner of the screen. In the upper left-hand corner, we have our Skyward logo. This is one of two ways that we can navigate back to your home screen. Wherever you are in the system, this will allow you to get back to the main screen that you have set up. As you look at my main screen, it will look a little bit different, most likely than what yours will if you have access to the system already or when you get access. And I'll explain why that is. Okay. The next area that I'm going to address is this tells you which entity you are going to be located in. Okay. The next thing that we have is my profile information. If I had a picture in the system, it would display here. It also identifies who I am in the system. If I select the drop down, it will give me the options that I have available here. I can change my password. The next option that we have will be the theme. If I select themes, you can see that there are a variety of themes that are created for you. In addition to creating the theme that you have in the background, you have the ability to then customize individual tiles that you have on your main screen. And the last piece of information that we have under here will be your user preferences. When I log in here, this is where I can set, and change some theme information if I want. I can also check to see history on my device activity and my login history. The next tab is a what's new. You'll notice that I have a little indicator that I have new messages in this area. If I click on the what's new, it's going to provide me with some information based on, what I have access to in the system. The next area is my messages. Similar to in SMS, you have a message center area that allows you to see messages that have been sent, that you currently have in your inbox, things that you have sent to your trash. The message center area is pretty powerful, and it's a great communication tool for teachers to correspond with their students, with their parents, notify other staff members in their district or building of things that are going on as well. We also have a My Tasks and Processes area where you can see things that you have set up in the system that are scheduled or routine tasks and processes that you have set up. The next area is one of my favorites, this Knowledge Hub area. As I click on this drop down, what I will see here is we have a Skyward community. This does give you the ability to go out and see what kinds of things people are posting about out in the community, to ask questions. But what I find, especially for new users, as a more frequently used tool, will be this Help Center. So I'm going to click on the Help Center for you. And if we patiently wait for this information to load, what I will see here had a search up at the top. The last area on this main screen is your sign out. Moving back over to the left on our second line of information, these green bars, this is called our menu. This main menu is your main navigation tool. You'll notice right now it's highlighted for me, activity access. I'm going to go back and click on teacher access. And depending upon the security that has been provided to me in the system, I am going to have a list of modules. The next option I have is this little star. This is my favorites area. This will allow me to click on this star and modify the list of favorites that I have. I can add areas that are my most frequently accessed and make them a favorite. Then rather than going through the menu and having to navigate, through the path to get to the area that I need, favorites are one way for you to quickly access the information that you need. I'm going to show you a couple of other ways as we go through the system as well. When we first started out and I talked about this skyward logo, I told you that it was one of two ways that you could get back from wherever you are in the system back to your home screen. The other way is the little home icon. If I click on the home icon, it will too take me back to my home page. Okay. I have a drop down here, which you may or may not have. This will show me what other areas in the system I have access to. The next area is the global search tool. And if I click on the global search, what this will allow me to do is to enter information and it will search the database for that. If you have reports and imports that are specific to an area in the software that you are accessing, they will display by clicking on this icon as well. Another favorite area on this home screen is this print screen. If I click on the print screen, what this will do is it will create a PDF of my screen. It also is a very helpful tool for you to be able to either document or troubleshoot and share information. The next button that I have is the compress button. The compress button is going to take this upper portion of my screen and compress it so it takes up a little bit less room. You'll notice that my icons and words became just icons. Everything is compressed into this one row. All right, I have a doc here. My doc is currently expanded. This is the second of the several ways that I told you that you can quickly navigate to areas in the system that you want quick access to without having to go the entire menu path to get there. If I am in a particular area, I will have an add to doc option over here on the left. Whatever it is that I need quick access to, that I want to come in, I log in, I click on my doc and don't have to take multiple steps and multiple clicks to get to where I need to be in the system. I can compress that doc so I don't have to see it all the time. And again, I have a little more working space in this lower portion of my screen. The last area that I want to talk about in this overview is the new window. When I hit new window, what you notice is I now have two identical tabs up here in the system. I can drag this so that I can have my two tabs side by side. So here I'm on my main screen. Maybe here I want to be on my grade sheet screen. Okay. Again, another quick and helpful tool. I can close that window. I am still logged into the system and where I was before I entered my new window tab. Let's go ahead and talk about attendance. So there's a couple of different things. Again, I'm in my teacher access area. If I go to my menu and I come down here to attendance, I have a couple of areas that I can access. They're called features. I can go in and take daily attendance for my classes. I can create a seating chart for my classes. We're going to address both of those things. I also have several reports that I have access to. Okay, let's start by taking daily attendance. Before I click on that, I do want to point out to you that I happen to have what are called live tiles here to take daily attendance for the 2 classes that I have access to. I am not going to do that from my live tile because I want to show you the route to do it through the menu. And I also want to show you how to create that live tile, which happens to be the 3rd way that you can quickly navigate to areas in the system without having to navigate through the entire menu. Favorite, your dock and live tiles. They will make your life so much easier. So let's go to the menu. Let's go to attendance. Again, I'm in teacher access, and let's go to daily attendance. Once I get to this area, it should show me the classes that I have available. You'll notice that I have a couple of options here. Just like in SMS, I get to group my attendance in a variety of ways. I also have the ability to show classes that I am currently teaching or all of my classes. You'll notice down at the bottom of my tile, I have a checkbox. If I know that my photo foundations class is a pretty small class, I see everybody sitting in their seats, everybody is there, I have the ability to mark all of my students present, okay? If all of my students are not present today, I can click on this icon. I can take attendance. Let's say Clement is absent today. Okay. I also have a variety of ways that I can look at attendance for my class. I can look at attendance for a previous week. So you can see these prior days and I can see what attendance looked like for my students. I can also see what attendance looks like. This did just warn me, for those of you that were wondering what that pop-up is. I had entered attendance for Clement, but I did not save it. And it let me know, hey, you're moving away from that screen and you are not saving that information. That's fine. I didn't need to. I want to show you that if I change my view to look for today's attendance for all periods, based on how many periods I have in the building in which I'm teaching, it will show me whether this student has been marked tardy or absent in any other periods of the day. I can also click on previous attendance. It is hyperlinked and I can get additional information about that attendance for that student. Okay. I can get a legend. Legends are kind of helpful. This tells me what those attendance types are that we get to enter. So if I click a box that says absent or I click a box that says tardy, it is being reported in the system as a web absence or a web tardy. And I can close that information. I can set parameters for my attendance taking. Again, that's up to the teacher to decide how you want to display that information. If I make a change, let's uncheck that. It will allow me quickly to save those changes or do a save and back or cancel out if I opt not to save that. If I do a save and back, it takes me directly back to the screen that I was on prior to. And remember I showed you as I went in there that I had what I called a live tile that allowed me to quickly click on that tile and it would take me directly into this screen from my home page. In order to do that, all I need to do is click on this Add Daily Attendance tile to the dashboard. And then what I will have is a daily attendance tile where I can just click on it and get back into my class. That's how easy taking attendance is. I do want to show you while we're on this screen, because of course it's listing students. There's a variety of screens where I'm going to get a similar display, and I will show you those, as we move along, and you'll recognize them as we get into different areas of the system. When I have a list of students here available to me, there are some things over here on the left that I want to point out that I think are helpful. I have this little information icon. If I click on this little blue eye, what's going to happen is I'm going to get a student pop-up where I have, again, depending upon what is added as security access for me, I have my student details information. Here's some demographic information about them, some guardian and emergency contact information. Quickly, I can look, find a parent's name, a parent's phone number or email to correspond with them if I need to. All kinds of information there. I also have the ability up here in my attendance mode. You notice that when I went in, I had a student list. I can take attendance either by my list of students or a seating chart. I'm going to go ahead and click on the seating chart information. When you first get into your system, you of course will not be able to take attendance by seating chart. I'm going to show you how you set one up. It's a two-part process, pretty quick, pretty easy, but it will then allow you to take attendance by a seating chart. You'll notice this is the way that I have my room laid out, and students at the desk, I can mark them either absent or tardy, present by default. Okay. I can save and back. I can cancel out. I'm going to go ahead and cancel. So it is going to not save any information that I might have entered. I do want to show you that when I'm in the seating chart, it does give me some additional information over here as well. I can display indicators or not. I can see which seating chart I'm using for this particular class. This is the class that I'm taking attendance for. This is the room I am taking attendance in. And again, this is the room layout that I have created for the seating chart. I can edit my seating chart from here as well. I will show you another area where you can edit it or create it or delete it if you need to. Okay. How do I want my students to be displayed when I'm taking attendance? How do I want my attendance control to be? Either the drop down where you saw it showed present, web absent, or web tardy, or I can do radio buttons. Okay, present, web absent, web tardy. A W and an L. Again, completely customizable depending on what the teacher would like. All right, let's go to the next area that I would like to show you. And that is the seating chart. So I'm going to go back to attendance. I'm going to go to the seating chart. You noticed when I went to take attendance for my photography class that it allowed me to take that attendance. It allowed me because I created a room layout. And from that layout, I was then able to create a seating chart. So let's go ahead and edit my room layout. And you can see I can show my room layout details, or in the general area, this allows me, to move, to change the seats that I have, all kinds of information from my room layout. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cancel this, and I'm going to show you how easy it is to create a new layout. So let's add a room layout. I happen to have a second room. I believe the other room is D204. Gosh, I hope that's right. And it is. Okay. So my geometry room is set up a little bit different than my photography room. So I can go ahead and create the layout and add seats to it as well. If I do my save and add seats, Then here I have a teacher desk and I have student desk. So what this will allow me to do is select a student desk, and maybe I want to add multiple seats at this time. It will tell me what the capacity of my room is. When we set up the codes for this room, I decided that I could have 35 seats in this room, okay? And so I get to design a layout that will allow me to have up to 35 seats. So let's say I want to do, I'm going to do 5 rows and I'm going to do 7 seats per row. I also want to show you that there's a legend here. So this tells you how my hotkeys can work when I am creating that room layout. Under my more option, almost always I'm going to have a more option in the upper right-hand corner of my screen. In this particular case, what it does is it allows me to clone that room layout. Maybe I'd already created my room layout for my photography room, and I did want to clone it for my geometry room as well. I could clone it, then I wouldn't have to go through the effort of recreating it in the event that the room layouts are the same in the multiple rooms that I am in. I can print that room layout if I want. Okay. So once I've got a room layout, then I also need to be able to select and add a seating chart for those particular rooms that I have set up. Okay. So if I go into my 5th grade, I have a seating chart here, okay? I'm going to edit it. So what I have in here is all of my unassigned students. I've got a room layout, but I don't have any kids assigned to seats. You can see I've got student photos, okay? My student photos are going to display as well as any indicators that we have about the student, okay? So I can go ahead and just start at the beginning and say, all right, Nancy's gonna go here, Anne's gonna go here, I'm gonna put Greg in this seat, Julio's gonna go over here. So I can put kids in seats by dragging and dropping any of those unassigned. Let's say Julio's not going to be in this seat, but I want him over here instead. I can move kids individually. Oops. If I get in the right box, I can. Not doing well with my mouse today. Okay. So I can assign students by just moving them to whatever seat I want them assigned into. I can also auto assign. So if I want to go ahead and get my layout for my room set up, and then I'm going to start the first day by putting all of my kids in order, starting at the top left by last name. I'm going to assign all of my kids by last name, and I'm going to save that. Okay, all my kids have now been assigned a seat, and they were assigned based on their last name. Let's go into the teacher gradebook. When I go to my gradebook and go to my grade sheet, let's just go into my geometry class. Once I have been in a gradebook, I'm going to default into that. If I want to change what class I'm in, it is on my drop-down list up above. I want to go to my geometry class. My geometry class actually has a couple of assignments that have already been entered. As I mentioned before, we can expand or collapse information. I can collapse that, not see the assignments. All I see is the calculation. If I expand it, I can see what assignments make up that calculation, what the student scores are for that. I can expand this information to get those additional details if I want to mark that assignment as no count missing, add additional comments and score clarifiers if they are entered into the system. Similar to SMS 2.0, we can enter scoring mode here, where I can score any assignment for any student. I can also exit my scoring mode, and if I click on the assignment itself, I have the ability to mass score for that particular assignment. I can also clone it. I can look at assignment details, etc. I can add assignments. When you add assignments, again, very much like in your previous or current software, where you can save and add attachments, questions from the question bank, add additional questions. I can save it and clone that particular assignment, save and add another assignment. I can save and score it at that point. Just whatever way adding assignments and scoring them makes sense to you. I can just add the assignment and save it. I'm going to cancel at this point. Do know that you can sync this to other classes. If I teach multiple geometry classes, maybe I want that assignment for all of the geometry classes that I teach. Again, we've got legend information. There is a plethora of information under this area. Lots of different assignment icons. So you can see by color and indicator what all of those are. Grade column, student icon information, grading period. I do want to go into the settings area real quickly and show you that you have the ability to display only your current terms or additional terms that are not current at this point. I can display grade colors. What this will allow me to do is to indicate either by grade or by score, whether students are doing well or poorly. Maybe I want to highlight in red all failing scores. So I can go ahead and either enter that by the failing grade or by the score and enter that information there. It will highlight information and show me at a quick glance which students have failing grades in my class. Okay. Again, I can choose how I'm going to display my assignments and what columns I'm going to display in my grade book. I can go to my student display. I'm not going to save any of the changes that I made there. And again, I can decide whether I want to display just my current students, or if I have all students. If students were in this class and have dropped, they will still stay on my list. They will be highlighted in a different color. I get to decide how I want my name to display or no name at all, and display my student number. I also have the ability to choose how I want my assignment default to be, and I can either show or change my grade calculations depending on what is allowable to me and what I have settings for in the system. If it is available to me and I have the ability to set my calculation settings for this class, if this is one of multiple geometry classes that I am teaching, I can copy those grade sheet display settings to my other classes. Even if I'm not doing calculation settings, I can still go ahead and copy. I'm going to do it to foundations and do a next. I can still copy, even if I don't have score settings that are modifiable, I can copy how my grade sheet is displayed and my student display information, set it up one time and copy it over to additional classes. Just like in our other list of students, I have information over here. I do want to point out this little drop down here that allows me to filter to a student. Let's say I'm calling my student up to have a little quick conference in the classroom. If I filter to that student, I can safely have them come up and display information about their classes while protecting the other students' information there as well. Okay. Let's go ahead and do score entry. I'm going to talk about a couple of different score entry options that we have available. I'm going to go back into my period 6, section 3 course. And there's a couple things that I want to make sure that I go ahead and show you while I'm in this class. So I can enter grades in a couple of different ways. So if I add an assignment and I give it a category, let's go ahead and make this an assessment. I'm going to call this assessment number 1 because I don't have a lot of creativity. We're going to give this particular assignment a 100-point max. At this point, I can decide if I want this assignment to be synced to my other classes. Maybe I am giving the same assessment in my geometry section 4 class and in my geometry section 5 class. So if I am content with the choices that I have made down here, I can go ahead and I can do a save and enter scores. At this point, this takes me into my score entry screen. It automatically expanded the information on my assignment. So you can see that I have assignment number 1. I entered it today. It has 100 points. Anything that has not been scored is going to have an asterisk. So I can go ahead and I can type in the score. And if I hit enter, and it will take me down to the next student. So enter a score, hit the enter key on my keyboard, score and enter all the way down my list. Okay, that is one way that I can go ahead and enter information. Maybe on some of these students, I want to enter a little bit of additional information. I can see that I've got the ability here to enter a score qualifier. So depending on what score qualifiers are set up in your district, and these are, district and building specific information, I can decide that this student turned this in late. Maybe it was missing. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to select late. I then have the ability to either choose an assignment as no count, which means that this score is not going to be figured into the student's grade calculation. I can mark this as missing, and I can also enter comments. If I have a drop down of my comment bank, I can select it from here. If I do not, this is a new comment, and I want to go ahead and add it to my quick entry, okay? So now my drop down is going to have additional options for me to select from. I am going to take you out to show you where you can enter your comment bank, not just by entering it one at a time here on this list. Okay, once I'm done scoring, you'll notice that it is auto-saving my information as I'm going through it. I don't have a save button up here. It is auto-saving my information as I go along. Everything that is in green has been changed and has been saved. I can now return to the gradebook. So that's one way that I can go ahead and enter grades as I am adding an assignment, and that is student by student. And it allows me to sync it to other classes at that point. The other way that I can do this is by clicking up here on my assignment. So if I click here, I have a variety of options here. I can go into my assignment details and get to that same edit screen if I would choose. But I have the ability to mass score at this point. When I go to mass score, my screen is going to give me some different options. I can score all of my assignments at a particular amount. So let's say this particular assessment, the majority of my students got the 100 points out of the 100 possible. And if I've already scored some of the students, I can go ahead and overwrite scores. Okay. I could also have entered those scores that are low, something other than 100, and then go in and assign all of the empty scores to 100 without overwriting the ones that I've already entered. I can do a score adjustment if I choose on all of my my scores. Maybe for whatever reason, I'm going to give students, additional points for this particular assignment. I can do that by clicking Adjust All Scores here, entering the amount, and determining whether I want that to be my unscored assignments or just those that currently have a score. I have a variety of other options available to me over here as well. I'm going to be syncing my assignments across classes. I would want to make sure that I have the same categories set up, and there's a quick and easy way that I can make sure that my grading configuration is the same in all of my geometry classes. And I can do that by going out here to my settings in my upper left-hand corner. Once I go into settings, I have a variety of settings that I can look at. My grade sheet display determines whether I am just going to be displaying my current grading period, or if I want to, in addition, display other grading periods that are available to me. What I did want to expand here for you is my calculation setting. And I want to point out in my upper right-hand corner, I have this copy grade sheet display setting. I'm in my grade sheet display at this point. If I have this all set up the way that I want, I can then click copy, and I can say, I want this to be for all my other classes, or none of my other, a subset of them. Okay? And then it's going to ask me a few questions. Do I want these settings to be shared? My grade sheet display, my student display, and also my score setting. I'm going to cancel out of this once more, and I just want to take you down here to your grade calculations in my calculation settings, and you can see that I have this set as assignment total points. If I split my screen, I have the ability to make some changes in how my grades are calculated in this class. You may or may not have that ability in your district. That is a building configuration. But in this particular case, I just want to show you that I can change mine from either assignment total points or category weighting. I can swap between those two. And the other thing that I can do is I can choose what categories I want to use in this particular grade book. So if I did not have the categories set up in each of my other classes, and I want to sync those assignments, it wouldn't work very well. I want my calculation settings to be consistent across all of my my geometry class. Okay. I also want to show you my grading scale. So again, the grading scale is something that can transfer across. And if I have the ability to overwrite that, I can do that over here in the upper right-hand corner as well. And I don't have any student grading scales. I'm not scoring any individual student differently than in the rest of my. Okay, let's go back to my grade sheet. And I want to show you one additional option that I have when it comes to grade entry and scoring. When I'm in a grade sheet and I click on this more, this is also where I can add that gradebook tile to my dashboard. Just wanted to call that out again to let you know that that tile that I have on my white canvas, I added it by selecting this particular option. What I want to show you down here is under my tools, I have a math copy assignment option. I can either math copy assignments to my other classes from this particular class, or I can copy assignments from a previous class. Again, just one additional tool to allow you to get those assignments shared amongst your different grade books if you fail to sync it at the very beginning. Okay. I can also go to my assignment, and on my assignment, if I edit, I can go to my classes synced to, and I can either, add to or remove from my list of classes to sync this particular assignment.